Tonight you have delivered a mandate for change, a mandate for a new kind of politics, a mandate for a city we can afford, and a mandate for a government that delivers exactly that.
And that is Zohran Mamdani, the soon-to-be youngest mayor of the country's biggest city since 1892. New York City's mayor-elect winning this race with record-breaking turnout. ABC's Aaron Katursky is on the ground in New York. Aaron, tell us about the scene at Mamdani headquarters tonight.
Juju, this is a boisterous room here in downtown Brooklyn. A religious barrier has fallen here in New York City as New Yorkers elect their first Muslim-American mayor, Zohran Mamdani, a 34-year-old assemblyman with little political experience, a self-described democratic socialist, is the new face of America's largest city, riding a wave of support for his agenda of making the city more affordable at a time when, according to the exit polls, the top concern among voters around here was the cost of everything from child care to housing. Mamdani defeated Andrew Cuomo, an established political rival whose long dynasty in American politics now seems to have come to an end. Juju?
Aaron, thank you. New York's mayoral race, of course, heating up for months before the showdown at the polls. Just one of several races drawing national attention and making history tonight.
In the Big Apple, it was a battle of the old guard versus the new guard. A former New York governor from a legacy Democrat family running as an independent, up against a 34-year-old Indian American who immigrated from Uganda.
My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. I wish Andrew Cuomo only the best in private life. But let tonight be the final time I utter his name as we turn the page on a politics that abandons the many and answers only to the few.
The self-described democratic socialist Zohran Mamdani, an assemblyman from Queens, officially New York City's 111th mayor-elect and the youngest since 1892. His mom, an Indian-American filmmaker who directed Mississippi Masala.
How long you been in Mississippi?
3 years. Before that, I was in Africa.
You kidding?
I'm a mixed masala.
Hot and spicy.
And Mamdani's dad, a Columbia University professor. He quickly rose in popularity with his social media-driven campaign, appealing to younger voters. The now mayor-elect visiting a popular LGBTQ+ nightclub over the weekend.
Let's go Knicks!
Watching the Knicks from the nosebleed seats, seen here on social media, in contrast to his chief rival, Andrew Cuomo, who sat with the current mayor courtside, and celebrating the New York City Marathon this past weekend. His campaigning efforts resulting in thousands showing up at his final rally Sunday night in Queens. Mamdani was endorsed by some Democratic big hitters, including Governor Kathy Hochul, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Senator Bernie Sanders. Former President Barack Obama even called him to praise his campaign.
We stand on the verge of ushering in a new day for our city.
His relentless focus on the issue of affordability seeming to resonate with voters. Talking about the issue last week with ABC News.
But we are now the most expensive place in America. And the affordability crisis is such that people are being pushed out of this city.
According to preliminary ABC News exit polls, almost 3/4 of voters in New York City said the cost of housing where they live is a major problem. Cuomo, who lost to Mamdani in the Democratic primary and ran as an independent, accused the new mayor of trying to turn the home of capitalism socialist. Tonight, Cuomo taking the high road.
Congratulations to Zohran Mamdani. That is not right. Hey, that is not right, and that is not us. That is not us.
The night before the election, Cuomo getting President Trump's endorsement, snubbing his own party's candidate, Curtis Lewa.
And now we will hold the mayor-elect to make sure that he serves all the people and that socialism does not replace capitalism.
Across the country, the economy remains a top issue for voters. According to a new poll, more than 60% of the country disapproves of Trump's handling of the economy, his managing of the federal government, and his use of tariffs on imported goods. In the same poll, 2/3 of Americans say the country is on the wrong track. Across the Hudson River in New Jersey, Democratic Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill beating Republican Jack Ciattarelli by double digits after he lost the race by only 3 points when he ran in 2021. The mom of 4 and former federal prosecutor and naval officer focused her campaign in part on dissatisfaction with Donald Trump.
And as the president is backing away from this ideal, cutting SNAP, ripping away health care, terminating Gateway, we here in New Jersey are bound to fight for a different future for our children.
Nightline was with Sherrill in 2018 at the New Jersey Women's March during her campaign for Congress. Sherrill, then part of the so-called pink wave of female candidates.
We're taking on a fight for the very soul of this country.
History also made tonight in Virginia, the state electing its first female governor, former Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger beating Republican Winsome Earl Sears.
We sent a message to the whole world that in 2025, Virginia chose pragmatism over partisanship. We chose our Commonwealth over chaos.
According to preliminary ABC News exit polling showing that 6 in 10 Virginia voters said this year's federal government cuts impacted their finances, and now tens of thousands of Virginians going without pay due to the ongoing government shutdown. Across the country, 59% of Americans blame Trump for inflation. In preparation for the midterms, in California, voters overwhelmingly passed the Democrat-backed Prop 50, which allows for the state's congressional maps to be redrawn, which could help shape next year's fight for congressional control in Washington.
Prop 50 is not about drawing lines on a map. It is about holding the line to what makes us who we are.
When we fight, we win!
And joining me now is ABC News political director Avery Harper. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I know you've been digging into the polling numbers all night, and the voters have sent a very strong message, hearkening back to James Carville's famous line, "It's the economy, stupid."
Totally. Across every single race that we were watching tonight, what we saw is that issues pertaining to the economy and affordability were front and center for voters as they cast their ballots. And so the candidates who won were rewarded by the fact that on the campaign trail, they addressed those issues. And of course, it bode well for all of those Democratic candidates.
And history was made by Democrats in a number of places. The first Muslim mayor in New York, the first woman governor in Virginia, and often in New Jersey, a win by a big margin. And these are setting up the next stars of the Democratic Party in many ways. How does that look as they square off against Republicans in next year's midterms?
Right. It's going to be quite interesting. There is a generational divide that is on display within the Democratic Party. There's also an ideological divide that is on display. So there's going to be a lot of folks looking at the win of Zohran Mamdani in New York City as not reflective of what would work in other parts of the country, in more purple parts of the country. I think there are going to be a lot of folks looking to the wins of Abigail Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill in those gubernatorial races in New Jersey and Virginia as the model to move forward. But that's an argument that still is happening within the Democratic Party. They are still trying to rebuild after losses up and down the ballot in 2024.
And tell us more about what the exit polls are showing, because there's a lot of energy among young voters in New York. There was a lot of "we're on the wrong track" polling coming out of California. What does that say about the mood of voters in this this election?
When we look at the exit polls across the states where we had major contests, what we found is that voters expressed dissatisfaction and anger at the state of what is happening in the country. And that motivated folks to come out to the polls. And so heading into the midterm year, that is going to be a big deal for Republicans to have to address as they try to get their supporters out when Trump is not atop the ticket.
And so much to look forward to. Avery Harper, thank you as always. And of course, we're going to continue to follow results of these pivotal races across all ABC platforms.